far, only the company operating this pipe-laying ship was faced with U.S. sanctions. But it's a threat that they're afraid of. That's why they're pulling out. It says at least 18 European companies have either terminated their participation of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline or have pledged to withdraw from the project over threats of U.S. sanctions. They're saying, look, we got to back out of this, because if we continue to deal with this pact or compact with you, or this deal, then we're going to be hurt by U.S. sanctions. According to a U.S. State Department report for Congress, this shows that the legislative goals and our actions have been successful, said Ned Price, a spokesman for the U.S. State Department. So this spokesman is saying, he's saying, see, all you got to do is threaten them, and you can break them up. So in them breaking up, guess what's going to happen? That's gonna bring more anger to them. They're going to become more angrier. Let me read that again. This shows that the legislative goals and our actions have been successful, said Ned Price. And the legislative goals is to bring sanctions against them, whether they need medical, pharmaceuticals, or whatever they may need that's important to the upkeep of their nation. The U.S. saying, look, if you do that, we're gonna cut this off. So they're running scared. It said Ned Price, a spokesman for the U.S. State Department, we continue to monitor companies involved in potentially sanctionable acts. In other words, the U.S. representatives are saying, in this case, Ned Price, he's saying, we're watching you. If you do something that we don't like, we're going to punish you for it, which ultimately will lead to their demise, the demise of Babylon. The State Department submitted a report on the pipeline to Congress on Friday, and a document which has not yet been publicly released. The U.S. has threatened sanctions against several other companies involved in the construction and certification of the roughly 1,200 kilometer or 750-mile gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea. So it's an underwater pipeline, and it goes for almost 800 miles. So there was a lot of work, a lot of construction, and a lot of money put into this thing that they made the deal. So what the U.S. did was throw a monkey wrench in that whole the pipeline itself. And you got a video here. If I remember, I'll leave the link in the description box. You can watch the video, which I'm not going to watch right now. It's about 4 minutes long. And we almost out of here, man. So far, however, the U.S. has only imposed sanctions on the Russian company, that's why ultimately the Medes show, pursuant to Isaiah the 13th chapter, the Medes, they're not going to have any pity for the little ones. Let me read on. It says, which owns the pipeline, the Russian pipeline laying vessel Fortuna. U.S. allies should not be surprised if the administration takes further action, Price said. Work on the pipeline had resumed in December after being suspended for nearly a year as a result of U.S. sanctions. It says construction between Russia and Germany is now almost complete. So they started this project back in 2018. So we're talking about, what, 3 years? So they were almost at the end of the project. And here comes the U.S., Babylon the Great, saying, no, can't do that. No. If you do that, we're going to bring sanctions against you. I keep saying that. It says Germany, Swiss, British firms back out. Most of the companies terminating their participation are insurance companies, the majority of which, among them, Munich-based insurer Munich Re Syndicate Limited and Switzerland-based Zurich Insurance Groups, EXA Groups, based in Paris. These are all EU nations except for the UK, because they backed up, but they still do deals with them. But they backed out of the EU. They're no longer EU nation. Russia's not EU nation, even though they're doing deals with each other. And Civil Engineering Group, Bill Finger of Mannheim, have also terminated their involvement, according to the U.S. State Department. Washington is strongly opposed to Washington, which is the U.S. Babylon is strongly opposed to Nord Stream 2 because they're going to cut them out of the equation. So you got these nations making deals. You have a group of nations called the BRICS nations that they're not dealing with the U.S. It says arguing that the pipeline will create too much European dependence on Russian energy supplies. Both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have voiced objection to the project. France and several other European countries have also been critical of the project. Was that France and several other European countries have been critical of the project. Why? Because France and other European nations are afraid of the U.S. It says, however, the German government has maintained its commitment to the pipeline's completion. Why? Because Germany is a strong nation. Despite criticism and pressure to cancel the project over the Russian government's crackdown on Kremlin's critic Alexei that's the guy that they locked up because he wanted to be the next president of Russia. They don't give a damn about Navalny, whatever you say his name, and his supporters. Let me see if there's more on that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, I want to go on to the scriptures. Let's go back to Revelation 17, verse 14. I'm going to read down to 18, the last verse. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. You know what I got to do? I got to go jump up to the 12th verse. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, that's the EU nations, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast, 1 hour with the Most High, is approximately 42 years. The EU came into power under, what is that called? The Treaty of Rome. I'm showing you that that's Rome. They had a treaty, a bunch of Edomites sitting in a big circle to usher in the EU nations. But it's called the Treaty of Rome. Look up the word treaty. Look up the word Rome. So this is Rome all over again. The second leg of the Roman Empire. It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest 10 kings which have no power, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. That's 42 years. So we're talking about from officially from 1958. 42 years later will be the year 2000. So Esau's time was up at the year 2000. So they're living on borrowed time. They're still in power 20 years later, 21 years later. But their time was up in 2000. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and their strength unto the beast. The beast represents NATO. So you have NATO nations that are part of EU nations that are part of NATO. So they're breaking up now. 14 verse, Revelation 17 verse 14, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. That's Revelation, the 12th chapter. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and his angels, the dragon. Another thing that Elder Barak said, that Revelation 12, the dragon and Michael and his angels and the dragon and his angels, he was saying that's talking about Satan. No, it's talking about Satan if you're talking about the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon, Satan. It says, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Who are the ones that are called and chosen and faithful? Us here, the elect on the planet Earth, or the hopeful elect, and the angels. And we are just angels and bodies. 15 verse, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the Hua sittest, America sittest, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, great melting pot. 16 verse, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Why? Because the situations that I just read about, Nord Stream 2, and sanctions against them, and shall make, Daniel 7 says that their look was more stout than their fellows. Look, we're going to bring sanctions against you. So you got a lot of these European nations running scared. Germany is one of them that's saying, nah, we ain't running scared. That's the breakup of this beast. That's the breakup of the feet of it in Daniel 2. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. The fire is talking about the missiles. 17 verse, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman, which is America, not Vatican City or the Roman Catholic Church, which thou sawest, is that great city. What great city? Babylon the Great, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now, how are they reigning over the kings of the earth? By bringing sanctions against them. So now let's go from here. I'm not going to be too much longer on this. This is Jeremiah 51 verse 1. Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that raise up against me a destroying wind. That destroying wind is the missiles. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that will fan her, and shall empty her land with what? Those missiles. For in the day of her trouble, they shall be against her round about. Let me go to the 3rd verse. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, which is the bow represents the silos, the arrow represents the ICBMs. And against him that